Hey everybody, Grant Miller here, Miami Community News. I'm with J.C. Planas. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Good. What's crazy is
Always good to be here.
I have to go back in history. Your father's name was Carlos.
Yes.
He had a dealership on 8th Street.
Yeah, to Miami Chrysler Jeep.
And when did he sell it?
So he got sick, and then the franchise actually got terminated with the auto bailout.
What year?
It was 2010.
All right, so 82, 83, 84. I'm 28, 29. Mr. Planas, Grant Miller Community Newspapers. I'm trying to sell them
He
advertising.
advertised with you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I remember going to 8th Street, and back then, it was just 8th Street and about 90th, right?
82nd.
82nd. That was the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I remember calling your dad, and he helped make Miami what it is today. So
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. He was on the,
Jackson thing?
he was on the board of Jackson Memorial Hospital, on the Public Health Trust, Jackson Foundation. He was a founding father of Kiwanis of Little Havana. As a little kid, I was at the first Cayocho Festival.
How little
it
was
so small. All of the Kiwanis members had mopeds, and you could drive up and down 8th Street. Now you can barely walk up and down Cayocho at the festival, but at that first one, it was, not as well attended as it is today.
So your dad, Pantene, that was partying?
Well, yeah, Les Pantene, Martha's husband,
Right.
and my dad were both founding fathers. The Pantenes were very, very dear friends of my dad.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about you. Your former state rep. How many years were you a state rep?
I got elected in 2002, and I termed out in 2010. And in fact, that's how I became an election lawyer. When I won my election in 2002, my opponent didn't like the fact that I had beaten him, so he sued to overturn the election, and I learned a lot.
Who?
Rainier Diaz La Portilla.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. I'm sure you learned a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So where did you grow up as a kid?
I grew up mostly here, but for a couple of years, for like 6 years, we lived in Jacksonville. And in fact, the way I got into politics is in 1978, my father was very good friends with Hans Tansler, who was the mayor of Jacksonville, and Tansler runs for governor, and he loses in the primary. So we all jump aboard the campaign of a then little-known state senator from Miami Lakes named Bob Graham. And at 8 years old, my parents took my brother and I all over the state, first campaigning for Tansler and then campaigning for Bob Graham. And Bob Graham was the first governor I ever met.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to elementary school?
All over, because we moved back and forth from Jacksonville. So in Jacksonville, Lakeside Elementary, San Jose Elementary. Here, I did a year in Baldor.
Okay, let's pick that one. Who's your favorite teacher?
From Baldor? Oh my God, her son is still a friend of mine, Rebecca Koch, and her son Herman and I are still friends.
Middle school or junior high? I don't know what it's called.
Well, middle school, I was back and forth. I had a woman in 8th grade, Patricia Alvarez, who was very
a teacher in Miami?
important. Yes, at St. Kevin's. But high school,
Sunset High.
Miami Sunset, Mary Ann Chose. She was my creative writing
Where'd you
teacher.
go to college?
I did 2 years at Miami-Dade, then went to Florida State.
Okay. Favorite teacher, either college?
At Miami-Dade, his name was Skip Cox, and he was my history teacher. I took 3 classes with him, and I actually call my son Skip
Because of him.
in his honor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You went to law school.
Yes,
Where?
St. Thomas.
Favorite teacher?
Favorite teacher? Oh, man, that's hard because I had some really good ones. Dan Gordon jumps out. Ediberto Roman jumps out. Former 3rd DCA Judge David Levy also jumps out.
It's interesting. St. Thomas, I could be wrong.
And I teach there now.
Yeah. I think it's the highest or close to the highest judges in Dade County are from St. Thomas.
Yes. Yeah.
I read that somewhere.
We have a lot of judges.
And you're president of St. Thomas. Wow. Not the law school, of St. Thomas.
Oh, Dave. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He doesn't let anyone call him President Armstrong. He's Dave to everyone.
Right. I say, hello, Mr. Armstrong. No, Dave. Okay.
Yeah.
Dave Armstrong. What a brain.
So I when he first got hired, I get a call just out of the blue. President Armstrong wants you to go play golf with him. And I'm like, I'm a horrible golfer. And he's like, no, this is all to have fun. I had just a hoot of an afternoon.
Former athletic director.
Yeah. And we played golf, and he's a blast.
Yeah, he's brought sports alive.
Yes.
And that increased the enrollment. And he's doing a lot of great things there.
So I started teaching at the law school, and now I also teach at the undergrad. And that's a blast.
Well, you grew up in Miami. A lot of those students are from Miami, and you understand. All right, so you ended up decided to run for state rep. Mm-hmm. Served 8 years.
8 years.
Who was the governor?
So it started with Jeb Bush, and then Charlie Crist my last 4 years.
All right, so you got both sides of the party.
Yeah.
You've been off for a couple of years, and you decided to run for supervisor election.
I never thought I'd be running for office again. Miami-Dade has a phenomenal supervisor of elections, but she didn't want to be a politician. And, it's
you
funny.
can't blame her.
You can't. So when the article comes out that she wasn't going to run, I actually got emails from my election law students. Oh, you need to run for this. You'd be perfect for this. And then I got a call from some other community leaders. I talked to some folks. My family gave their blessing, which was extremely important. And I decided to take this undertaking. And countywide, when you run in a small district for a House district, it's different. But, the truth is that I've been helping candidates get elected as their election lawyer for the past 12 years. So not only do I have familiarity with all the areas of the county, but I don't think you're going to find anyone who's been at the elections department more than I have. I'm running to lead a department where it almost feels like I'm joining a family. These folks have become very close friends and confidants over the 12 years that I've been an elections lawyer. I've done more than 20 recounts, not just in this department, but I've actually done work in other elections departments in Tampa.
Other counties.
Yes, and I've probably met more supervisors than anybody else in this race.
How many employees do they have now?
So there's only 134, and they don't have them all filled. And those are the permanent employees. It's really only 100. I've heard people say, thousands. No. It's only really permanent.
Those people are counting the people that come out that day.
Yeah, but so understand something. We swell to temporary employees during election time. During primary, it swells a bit. During general, it swells more when there's special projects they do. But the actual employees is really only 134.
Of the 134, those are full-time.
Yes.
What is the budget?
Man, I had it the other day, and I pulled it out.
Okay, but it's really not. But that
it's a pretty big budget, because understand
will
something.
It be under you? So
Yes.
if you get elected, it's not part of the county. It's part of the tax collector. Excuse me.
No, it's an independent agency. So we won't be a state entity. We won't be a county entity. We will be our own entity.
The election department.
Yes. Now, we will get all the benefits, one of my
but you're still funded through the county.
Yes, and we have to apply to the county for funding. And what's interesting is, for my first year there, the budget will already be set. They're about to set next year's budget now in August. So they'll do the fiscal year starting in October.
Yeah, like the sheriff. If the sheriff gets elected, they don't take over right away. It's a long process. Like yours is a year process almost.
Well, it will be living under the budget. I'll become supervisor in January, but we'll still be living under the existing budget, which is fine. I mean, I've seen the existing budget. I've seen what's going to get passed. I've seen what's there. I've been a part of this process for a long time, and I am very close to the current supervisor, just because this is a relationship established since she became the supervisor and took over for Penny Townsley.
And Penny was there how many years?
Penny was there about 4 or 5 years, because she took over for Lester Sola.
Who was there for a while?
Lester was an excellent. I mean, Lester.
Where did he
Lester
left?
really.
He went
fixed.
somewhere else.
So Lester became Mr. Fix-It at the county.
Right.
He did such a great job fixing the supervisor of elections office.
MacGyver, I call him.
Yeah.
He goes, fix this, fix this.
Sola is excellent, and in many ways, this is Sola was the one who hired Christina White, and he was the one who brought her in. So he really is the godfather of fixing I mean, we are one of the, if not the best, supervisor of elections offices in the state of Florida, and that's thanks to Lester
Sola. Does that say that we're good or the rest of it's bad?
No, we really are good. The only one that comes close to us is Tampa, Hillsborough County. Craig Latimer, who's their supervisor, who I actually talk to every once in a while, is a phenomenal supervisor of elections. Understand something. The other problems have always been Broward and Palm Beach. It's easy to be a supervisor of a small county because they don't have the problems that big counties have. Hillsborough, Orange, Duval, Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade are the top tier. Those are the difficult ones.
Miami's the biggest.
Miami is the biggest.
And
the largest.
How many registered voters do we have in Dade County, give or take?
It fluctuates. I think we were at like at 1 point something. It was like 1.5 or something like that.
Wow. So when you get elected, or if you get elected, we'll use when, what are you going to do different than Ms. White did to get more people out to vote?
Well, the one thing that's very different is when you are a department of the county, you have a lot of parameters. And we may have great county leaders, but just the bureaucracy makes it so you can't go out. Once we're an independent entity, our communications ability is going to be much greater. One of the things I want to do is all of these county commissioners have district offices, and a lot of them have these mobile district offices that are RVs. We're gonna be knocking on some doors saying, hey, can we have office hours at your district office? Hey, can we borrow your mobile district office? I want to go out into the streets, not just to register voters, but oh my God, this fact that now, we removed everybody from the vote by mail registration link is just horrible. One of the worst decisions Tallahassee's ever made, and even Republican supervisors of elections.
Repeat it again.
So 2 years ago, they passed a law in Tallahassee that basically said that you had to re-enroll for vote by mail every 2 years. And even Republican supervisors of elections said that this was a horrendous idea. So we have, who does this hurt? This hurts a lot of our elderly, Hispanic, and Black voters, because now you need either a driver's license number or the last four of your Social Security to re-enroll and vote by mail. So these folks don't leave the reason they're ordering their vote by mail ballot is because they don't drive.
Or they don't like leaving their house.
Exactly.
Well, I love that idea, going out to the community.
We're going to go out and re-enroll these folks. We're going to be proactive because we want, especially, listen, our elderly residents have served their time. They deserve more convenience than anyone else to vote. They've earned it. They've earned it. And that's one of the things we need to do. We need to make sure, and listen, I'm going to do this for the folks that probably won't vote for me, okay? Because there are your Republican abuela that is never going to vote for a Democrat. I need to make sure that she has the easiest, she or he has the...
men live longer now. Yes. Don't pick on us.
That she has the easiest time to vote possible. And I have to do that especially for the folks that wouldn't vote for me, because that's how we protect our democracy.
The challenge I see in the past, I don't know what it's called. I'd go get 20 packages and bring them to the election department. What's that called?
Well, bundling votes. Listen.
How do you stop that, or do we need to stop it?
I think anybody who is turning in a ballot for a member of their household can have an affidavit, and they can turn that in without a problem. If you are turning in a ballot of someone not from your household, we got a problem there. The biggest problem we have is actually nursing homes, ALFs, and residential housing. And that's where we have to be vigilant. So all of these folks have the ability to have what's called supervised vote by mail. And what happens is they'll apply for it through the county, and they'll say, we have, these 25 people here, these 40 people, or in large places like the Palace, they'll have 60, 70 people, and they'll say, hold the ballots, do supervised voting, and the elections department will come in.
Is that now? But
that's voluntary. Yes.
No, but you're saying that's voluntary. But
I'd love to make it mandatory. I would love for the state to make, for all of these places, to have mandatory supervised voting. You would eliminate all the problems.
There's hundreds, probably 1,000 senior citizen nursing homes And
in the state.
Well, I'm just talking about Dade County. There's a lot.
No, some of them are small that you don't have to do it, but the larger ones, listen, I proposed this to the state several years ago because I would go and lobby for voting changes. You have to understand something. This is our democracy. We should not be, skimping and trying to nickel and dime our democracy. This is something that's worth investing in. So whatever the amount is, man, let's pay it. This is protecting our ability to maintain a free and fair electoral system. We shouldn't be doing this on the cheap. This should be something that's worth spending on.
Yeah, the biggest issue everybody says over the years, these senior citizens' homes only vote one way or this way. By having election people in there, it changes.
Right now we have the budget for several of them. A lot of senior centers used to ask for this supervised voting, and now they don't. We need to encourage them to do it.
Right.
And it's in the budget. So a place like the Palace should be able to call the elections department and say, let's do it. Right now it's based on what the allocation is at the county.
Right.
But I can tell you right now, because I speak to them regularly, the county actually is waiting for some of these folks to call them, and they haven't. Right. That should be something we encourage.
So the early voting, what's it called, AB?
No, early voting is just in-person early voting. Right. Vote by mail is mail early voting.
And that comes out a month before the election.
So, the overseas go out 45 days, okay? And then by law, the ballots have to be received within 30 days before. I don't even call it election day. It's last day to vote. Right,
exactly.
I even as an election lawyer, people, election day operation. If you're dealing with election day operation, you're going to lose.
Because most
election month.
Elections now are won or lost before the last day.
I mean, that's been one of my complaints with the Herald and their the way they do their recommendations. They do it way too late. By the time it comes out, 70% of the people have voted
or more.
Yeah. On last day to vote, what we traditionally called election day, in the last election, we had 75% of the people had already voted.
Right. The Herald does come out late. Hopefully, Alex and his team will get it out earlier. Yeah. But as Steve Clark said, just spell my name right. Steve Clark, you brought it up. I'm going to let people know Steve Clark ran 21 times. 20 times he was not endorsed by the Herald.
Yeah. Steve.
He used to say, spell my name right.
Steve, I think the last time he was endorsed was when he ran against Miriam Alonso for City of Miami.
That was the only time.
I mean, Steve was a legacy. He went to everything. I mean, you'd go to a bar mitzvah and there was Steve.
But speak about that. Kava, I don't know when she sleeps, but she goes to everything and she's well-loved.
It's not just that she goes to everything. She goes to events. And she walks in dancing, singing. Like, I've seen her at park events where here I am sweating. Here I am like dying, like, oh my God, it's hot. She's coming in like fresh. She energizes people in a way that very few politicians have done in this county.
It's interesting. I saw an event at Crandon Park, Hobie Beach, now called Castaways Against Cancer, at 7:45 Saturday morning. 7:15, she got our newsletter. She texted me by the time she didn't know I was going to be at the event. Texted me about something I wrote about before she got there. So she's up, rocking and rolling. So more hats off to her. But let's get back to you. All right, let's talk about your family. How long have you been married?
I've been married now 18 years, it'll be, and 20 years together with my wife. 18 years married.
Children?
Yes, 13 and 11.
Okay, 13 is
she's my daughter.
Okay.
Who is like,
what
she's
school?
Just brilliant. They're at St. Louis Catholic School, Covenant School in Pinecrest. My daughter's really into this. She's very introverted. Don't ask her to talk to voters, but she'll tell you she knows exactly what I'm running. She knows all the dossiers of my opponent. She knows everything about this race. My son is not as intricate in that, but my son at campaign events is spinning my sign, going up to strangers saying, please vote for my dad.
Now he's a Boy Scout.
He's yeah. Well, he just became it's actually called Scouting America now. He's a scout. He's in the troop. He was a Cub Scout. I was the Cub Master.
At Kendall Methodist?
No, at St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Troop 8, well, he was Pack 840 and now he's Troop 840. I was the Cub Master for the past 3 years.
Well, you went camping somewhere lately?
We did, yes. So this was his first year of scout camp at Camp Woodruff in North Georgia. And the purpose of the scout camp is really to work towards your requirements for your Eagle. So the whole point is that if you do 3-4 years straight of scout camp, you can pretty much get 75% of your requirements for Eagle in by the time you're 14, which is important because, you know, they start getting into other things and it'll take longer for the rest. But he got his first aid badge. He got his, Nature Woods badge.
Eagle's the top honor.
Eagle's the top honor.
What I heard.
And that's our goal. Our goal is to get them to be Eagles.
What I heard, because there's not many Eagles
No.
in every little community. That's more impressive to schools, colleges,
Oh, yeah.
than
Extremely.
these high energy, high level classes. Because an Eagle Scout, how many are going to be out of your troop? 1, 2, 3?
We've already had several drop out. A couple of dads and I, we actually, like 4 years ago, we made a pledge that we're all going to get our kids to Eagle. And of those, like 6 already, 2 of them have kind of fallen by the wayside. But I really want this for him, and he likes it, and he loves it. And he had a much better time at scout camp than I did. I was sleeping in a cot, in a tent.
How was the temperature?
It wasn't bad. At night, it was cool. I had a couple of fans in the tent, but it's an open tent, so the bugs are getting in, and I turn on my phone.
You feel like you're at the election office. Bugs just come. Everything's
coming.
coming.
Oh man, it's. All
right, so your daughter both go to St. Louis.
Yes.
Father Paul was unbelievable.
Father Paul was amazing. We miss him so much.
He's good people. When he started, I was involved with him, and he gave the blessing when we had Archbishop Winsky a couple of weeks ago. He came in. He's just slow.
He really has declined, and when he retired, but my God, one of the smartest priests. And we always used to joke, we'd be in church and he'd be doing a homily, and if he pulled a piece of paper out of his pocket, we knew it was going to get good because he had written specific things down, but probably just one of the smartest preachers that I've ever been involved with. And I was involved with Emmaus retreats at St.
Julio
Louis.
Fernandez?
I'm sorry?
You know Julio Fernandez?
Yeah, he's the adjuster, former baseball player, of course.
Yeah.
He did Emmaus retreats with me.
What's crazy, his father coached with the Dodgers almost 30 years.
Wow.
And he played for the Orioles one time.
Yeah, Julio, yeah.
No, not Julio. His father,
yeah.
Yeah.
But Julio played baseball his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good people. Good people.
Julio's awesome. I met Julio through the Emmaus retreats at...
Tom Gordon?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Gordon's also a fellow Seminole.
Yeah,
so.
and Tom Gordon inducted to his Hall of Fame in college. His daughter is nationwide.
Remember those little helmets that people used to, those football, that was Tom Gordon's business?
Yeah, him and the Neck brothers. But his daughter, Carson, was one of the best softball players in the country, has a national ring.
Yes, that's right. She was on the championship team of Florida State.
Yeah, so good people. All right, we're going to ask some questions. Ready?
All right.
We're going to test you, see if you know your neighborhood. Everybody knows what you do now, what you're running for.
Yes.
Your favorite taco place in Miami?
Ernesto's.
Where's that?
Man, it's like in Wynwood somewhere.
Okay,
Coyo Taco's really good too.
Favorite pizza place?
It's a tie. Sometimes Frankie's, and then sometimes Maxwell Brothers in Palmetto Bay.
Both are very good.
Yes.
Your favorite football team?
Oh my God, the Dolphins. I'm a long-suffering Dolphin fan.
Okay. Here's your real question. Your hero. Could be anything.
My dad, to a certain extent, because of all the things he did.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Skip Cox.
Skip, that's very good. Oh, okay. We're gonna. Your favorite animal?
Both my dogs.
Your favorite cowboy movie? Or favorite cowboy?
The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, John Ford.
Wow.
One of the greatest directors of all time.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't get this right, I'll be very upset.
Please,
Your
dude.
favorite
I am an Arbetters guy.
All right, see that? Dave Arbetter, he loves Arbetters.
All right, so I was at the Arbetter street naming. That was my district.
Ah,
yes.
Wow. Right.
Frankie's Pizza was also my district.
Here's some tough questions. Your wife's birthday.
My wife's birthday is December 2nd.
Daughters.
My daughter's is February 27th, and my son is December 28th.
In-laws, are they alive?
Yes.
Birthdays.
No idea.
Good answer.
No, actually, wait. My father-in-law is July 1st, because I know that's coming up, and my mother-in-law sometime in December, in November.
All right. Thanksgiving.
That is my
Give me some words.
Absolutely favorite holiday. So I cook the whole spread for Thanksgiving. I do the Julia Child famous butterfly deconstructed turkey, cooked over the stuffing.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is big in my house.
Your favorite cheeseburger. These are tough questions. These are important factors. People want to know if you're human.
Man, it used to be Duffy's, but they changed. Duffy's in the 90s was amazing.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You weren't around, but they used a place called Ludway's.
No, I never went to that.
Your dad probably went there.
But
So
Lowe's was a good burger back in the day.
Okay, last question. The magic of the mix. Why will you be successful as supervisor of elections?
Nobody knows elections more than me. Nobody's been involved in this more than I have. I mean, this has been my life, probably my entire career. I've been from the time I was 8 years old, campaigning around the state, from my time in the legislature. Because of the fact that I had litigious elections, I learned this. The fact that I've probably visited more elections departments, met more other supervisors, spent more time at the current supervisor's office than anybody else.
That's good. Grant Miller here with J.C. Planas, running for supervisor elections. Everybody, have a great day.